Good morning. Who's awake today? How many of you are here? How many of you are all here? Just checking. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2018 South Texas All Hazards Conference. Good to have you here. Good to see so many smiling faces. My name is Tim Smith, Chief Meteorologist at KRGV Channel 5 News. I'll be your Master of Ceremonies for the morning, and I'm excited to be back for the third year in a row. It's fun to be here with you guys. This is the sixth year for this conference. The South Texas All Hazards Conference has provided all of our first responders and emergency management personnel from all over South Texas to speak one-on-one with experts in emergency preparedness, and our experts come from all over the United States. How many of you are here for the first time today? Wow. How many have been here for all six of these? Well, that's pretty good. All the rest of you are like the middle child. You don't matter, okay? We're happy to have every one of you here. Thank you for being here. We are pleased to announce that today we have more than 1,800 attendees, 65 experts, 85 exhibitors this year. Of course, your attendance is a reflection of your willingness to remain on the cutting edge of the preparedness field, disaster preparation, and everything that goes with it. So we're really proud to have you all here today. And we're even streaming into another room because there's so many people we don't all fit in here. So this is really cool. It is growing fast and in a big way. At this time, please rise as we prepare for the presentation of colors by the Rio Grande Valley Regional Honor Guard, which includes fire departments from McAllen, Farr, and Edinburgh, pipe and drums played by Brownsville Firefighters Association, and the axe and thistle pipe and drums. Our national anthem will be performed by Luis Estrada from the City of McAllen Health and Code Enforcement. The presentation of colors.
Colors. Stage. Touch. Concentrate. Right shoulder. One. Arms. Two.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, save us that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. At this time, we honor our fallen first responders, officers, and servicemen and women who have perished while answering the call or were serving this great country. These individuals possess extraordinary courage and compassion. They put everything on the line and paid the ultimate price. For all who dedicated their lives to serving and protecting our communities and our nation, today we honor their memory. Thank you. You may be seated. What a beautiful opening ceremony that was. Thanks to all involved. My goodness, that was gorgeous. Yes, go ahead. That's fine. Absolutely. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day, someone all of us in this part of the valley and all of Texas really know and know well. That is our mayor. Mayor Darling has served the city of McAllen for 30 years, first as a lawyer, then as a commissioner, now the city's 20th mayor. Please welcome Mayor Jim Darling.
Thank you and good morning and welcome to McAllen. We're very proud to host this event. It's a very successful event and we hope that you all go away with a little more knowledge and wisdom to serve our citizens. Before we do that, I'd like you to bow your head with me in prayer for the invocation, please. Thank you, Lord, for this day and the opportunity to come and gather together for this conference and for bringing each one of us here safely. We ask for your hand of blessing on this conference and for your guidance and direction so that these next 2 days be full of wisdom, productivity, and inspiration. May you give us your gifts of wisdom, patience, and courage as we continue in our efforts to build a Texas strong community. We ask for your guidance in the decisions we make each day and the strength we need when disasters strike. We thank you, Lord, for those who often put their lives on the line for others, and ask for your protection and safety for all first responders, volunteers, and community members who are in any way affected by natural disasters or situations of significant danger. Lord, we ask that you bless every person present here and also ask that you return everyone home safely. In your holy name we pray. Amen. You know, it seemed like yesterday that Hurricane Harvey was churning in the Gulf and we watched, luckily, as it rolled past us. But unfortunately, it didn't roll all the way, and it caused significant damage and loss of life in many parts of the state of Texas. You know, as part of the great community of the Valley, we united and went to the aid of our brothers and sisters in Texas to help them recover from the hurricane. I know many of you cities out there sent volunteers up there. I know McAllen, along with Hidalgo County, joined together to send a task force up, especially to the Rockport area, to help restore some of the basic needs of the citizens up there. I'd like to share with you a video of that excursion that we took just a few short months ago.
You will never forget this experience. There's nothing like helping people in need. Good luck, okay? All right, sure. Okay, thanks.
The light company is going to come and work on that pole. That way we can start from here, this way.
All the trucks for Hidalgo County and McAllen, and just overwhelmed with gladness to see that, driving to work and to and from, seeing the brush piling up, helping friends and neighbors. You know, one of the things you start to carry a burden that's maybe not yours to carry, but you still worry about your community, your friends, and the tremendous amount of work, and to see all those men and women coming up here to help us, it was an overwhelming feeling of gratitude.
Well, that's what it's all about, communities working together, so I know we're going to learn a lot. It's a great, great conference, and Eddie puts on a fantastic one. It gets better every year, so welcome to McAllen. I hope you have a great 2 days. Thank you very much.
I saw the mayor jump up on stage and I said, that's going to be easy to do. I'll just do that instead of using the ramp. I forgot the mayor's in great shape. The stage is higher than it looks. I don't think I ripped my pants. I hope not. A lot of exciting things happening today. You know, you see that video of the people from the city of McAllen who were in Ingleside and Rockport, and I had the opportunity to cover Hurricane Harvey in Houston. As the storm was approaching, we took off and went to Houston. And the thing that amazed me was all along Highway 281, then Highway 77, then Highway 59, all the vehicles that, I'll say we were passing, we'll leave it at that. They all had Valley City logos on the side and Valley County logos on the side. We saw the city of McAllen, the city of Brownsville, the city of San Juan, the city of San Benito, Hidalgo, all these vehicles. And then, of course, all the Border Patrol. And everywhere we went in Houston, I was there for about 10 days. Everywhere we went in Houston, we'd run into people from the Valley who were helping. Some in an official capacity and some who just showed up with their boats. And maybe some of you here today. We were in some of the places where people were coming out, literally as many boats as they could possibly get into this neighborhood. And probably a third of the boats were Valley people. And it was just amazing to see. Some places it was organized by law enforcement. Other places it was just people who showed up. And they said, I've got a boat, I want to help. And one of those boats got my daughter out because she was flooded in Houston as well. So remarkable to see the Valley respond to a disaster, 5 hours away and 3 hours away in the case of Rockport and Ingleside. So to all of you who responded and went north, thank you for that, because it touched me personally, but it touched an awful lot of people. The Valley came through in a big, big way. Our next speaker today is our Hidalgo County Commissioner, Eduardo Eddie Cantu. He's presently serving his first term as Precinct 2's Commissioner. His precinct covers portions of the county not included within the city limits, including parts of Alamo, Hidalgo, McAllen, Mission, Pharr, and San Juan. Please welcome Commissioner Eddie Cantu.
Good morning. County Judge Ramon Garcia has a scheduling conflict, so he sent me in his place. I'm Eddie Cantu, County Commissioner for Precinct 2. And on behalf of Hidalgo County, I welcome you to the annual All Hazards Conference. Now in its 6th year, this training conference has grown into the second largest and the only free emergency management conference in the state of Texas. When the first conference was held in 2013, and drew a little over 700 participants, we knew that this approach to employee training and skill development was much needed. Today, I'm told we have well over 2,000 participants, which make the Hidalgo County All Hazards Conference the largest of its type in the state. Raise your hand if you've attended this conference in the past. The fact that many of you return each year and that we attract new emergency management responders and officials each year is the mark of excellence. I want to applaud the Texas Department of State Health Services for funding the conference. This funding is what allows us to have the training at no charge. So please join me in expressing our appreciation. As the conference has grown in attendance, so has its scope. We recognize that the emergencies come in many forms and from various threats, from infectious diseases to industrial accidents and worse. Attacks can happen anywhere and at any time and from any source, from weather to infectious disease, from accidents to premeditated, and from a deranged individual to an organized terrorist group. So we must be ever vigilant, and our first responders and support staff must be prepared for all hazards. Over the years, this conference has developed a stellar reputation for the effectiveness. The success is due to the teamwork and collaboration with our partners, much like when a disaster strikes and we all come together for the greater good. Let us take a moment to thank the All Hazards Conference organizers, including the Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department, Hidalgo County Emergency Management, the City of McAllen, and the Texas Department of Emergency Management. We can have an applause for them. There were over 20 people from these entities who worked on the conference. I want to thank the conference committee for putting together this program, and Mayor Jim Darling and the City of McAllen for hosting it. I would also like to congratulate the student volunteers assisting in all areas of the conference, including high school students from Edinburgh Idea Academy, McAllen ISD Lamar Inter Bachelorette Academy, and nursing students from the South Texas Training Center. We can have an applause for those students. The students wouldn't be here without their advisors, Ms. Olivia Palacios from IDEA, Ms. Vivian Tamez from Lamar, and Ms. Patty Puente from South Texas Training Center. Many of the volunteers are assisting with registration and other duties. However, if any of the student volunteers and their sponsors are present, please stand and be recognized. Students. Again, on behalf of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court and all the Hidalgo County, I welcome you to the 2018 South Texas All Hazards Conference. Thank you all very much. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, which is Mr. Eddie Olivares, who's our Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Chief Administrative Officer.
Well, welcome everyone to this beautiful facility. Mayor Darling, wow. That's all I can say, just wow. Give him a big hand, everyone. I tell you, this is the largest emergency response public health conference that we don't charge a penny. We save hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money because a lot of our smaller communities cannot afford to send 3, 4, 5, 6 people to the large conferences in Houston and Dallas. So we do it here and we charge $0 to provide training because we're not only Texas strong, we're Valley strong. But our strength could not come without having solid leadership. The leadership in our community is vital. And this year we did something different. We decided we wanted to recognize someone who had dedicated the majority of their life to provide a service and support to this community. And it's important that we honor our leaders, but more importantly, it's important that we honor our friend. I'd like to call the first annual recipient of the South Texas All Hazard Service Leadership Award to come forward. Chief Sean Snyder, your presence is required on stage, sir. I have known, yes, hooah! I'm calling his wife, Edna, to come forward, and I've had the pleasure of knowing both Sean and Edna for over 30 years, and it is a tremendous honor for them to be here and recognize their leadership because a strong leader always has a strong partner behind them. Edna, good to see you. Hermano, it's with great honor. Let me get so you get photos right there. And honor to present you with the first leadership award this office ever given.
Thank you very much. How much time do I have? Some people that's relevant. I didn't. So I guess she's getting paid while she's here, right? Because she's a county employee, so she's It's important. Well, I'm humbled, and for one of those rare occasions, I'm speechless. And I was, I saw the book, and I didn't totally understand what it was all about, and I appreciate being the recipient for this. I would like to, I think first and foremost, I want to thank my wife for being able to let me do what I do, and thank God as well. Probably the most important message that we're going to get here in the next 2 days is that the Rio Grande Valley has established itself as a leader in all hazard response. And there's only one reason why that is the case. It's because of everybody here. The places that I go across the state of Texas, people ask, how is it that the Rio Grande Valley does what it does? And usually there's no fee attached. And that includes police, fire, emergency service, public services, public works. Every asset that we have here is shared across the state. And it's because of the culture that we have here in the valley, the traditions that we have, and the sharing of resources. We have all started many years ago with not having a lot and taking everything we have and putting it in the pile, and let's all share and benefit our communities from this. And that was what has been the success for the Rio Grande Valley. And since then, we have now pushed that out to the state, which was just a video of it, and there's pictures of it. These pictures, some of these pictures came from my telephone. I was just amazed to see some of these pictures. And so we need to continue. The next generation of leaders need to take this and run with it and make it everything it can be. And don't let anybody anywhere tell you that you can't do it. The Rio Grande Valley has stood very strong, and again has proven that we have capabilities, we have the people, we have the technology and the resources to be a force to provide services to our communities, keep them as safe as possible, protect lives and property. So I dedicate this here to every person that takes that on as a challenge, to do the best you can every day. Every day we wake up in the morning and we have a choice on what we're going to do. And so take that choice and make the opportunity to do the best you can, even if it's one more person is taken care of and safe and secure, then we have done our job. So thank you very much for this honor, and thank y'all for enduring me over the years. So I appreciate that. It's a great honor for this award here. Thank you very much.
I don't think there's any question that Chief Snyder's predecessor, Johnny Economidi, set the bar really high. And I think Chief Snyder has raised the bar even more. It's amazing what Chief Snyder's done in his years in Edinburgh. So congratulations, and congratulations on receiving this award today, Chief. One more round of applause for Chief Sean Snyder. All right. right, on to our next speaker now. Our next speaker is Dr. John Hellerstadt. He became the Commissioner of the Texas Department of State Health Services in 2016. With his leadership, the agency strives to achieve the vision of a healthy Texas and fulfill the mission of improving the health, safety, and well-being of Texans through good stewardship and public resources, and a focus on core public health functions. Please welcome Dr. John Hellerstadt.
Buenos dias, y'all, and welcome to the 6th Annual South Texas All Hazards Conference. A special acknowledgement to Chief Sean Snyder for his award. Clearly that comes from the heart and soul of this entire community, so congratulations. I'd like to thank everyone in this room for answering the call to be Texas Strong. By joining us today and tomorrow, you will be helping to advance the All Hazards Conference mission to advance community capability through promoting the principles of public health and emergency preparedness management throughout the entire state, to serve our local stakeholders by providing information networking and professional development opportunities, and to advance emergency preparedness management capability and capacity. It has taken many dedicated staff to put this conference together, from Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department, Hidalgo County Office of Emergency Management, their Public Affairs, the District Attorney, the Safety Division, and the Sheriff's Department. We must also acknowledge the contribution of the City of McAllen, the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service, the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and the United States Customs Border Protection, who all contributed to putting this amazing conference together. We should also recognize the local and regional health department leaders who work hard to keep their communities healthy and prepared for all hazards. Eddie Olivares, the Chief Administrative Officer of Hidalgo County Health and Human Services. Esmer Guajardo, the Health Administrator for Cameron County Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Hector Gonzalez, the Director of Health for the City of Laredo Health Department. And Emily Pro, the Medical Director for the Texas Department of State Health Services, Region 11. I would also like to thank the City of McAllen Mayor Jim Darling, Hidalgo County Judge Ramon Garcia, I know he couldn't be here, and also then thank Commissioner Eddie Cantu. I'd like to acknowledge the state government representatives here by showing their commitment and support. Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa is the Vice Chair for the Senate Finance Committee. He is a visionary who understands South Texas and has been making sure the preparedness and response community gets the assistance that it needs. And State Representative Robert Bobby Guerra is a member of the House Public Health Committee. He was instrumental in funding the Hurricane Harvey response efforts and in promoting South Texas health concerns, including the Zika response. We are also fortunate to have with us individuals whose leadership has been crucial for providing relief to areas impacted by Hurricane Harvey. Tony Robinson, the Administrator of FEMA Region 6, Chief Dim Kidd of the Texas Department of Public Safety Division of Emergency Management, and Chief Manuel Padilla, Jr., the United States Customs and Border Patrol Rio Grande Valley Sector. Let's talk a little bit about my agency's role, the Department of State Health Services. At DSHS, our mission is to improve the health, safety, and well-being of Texans through good stewardship of public resources and a focus on core public health functions. The DSHS central office is in Austin, but our agency operates throughout the entire state. The state, for our administrative purposes, is divided into public health regions. The regional DSH offices allow us to provide a range of services to Texans in their local communities. We're currently in what we call Region 11, but I know for certain that we have people attending from Region 8, Region 6-5 South, and others as well. Regional offices provide population-based services that control and prevent disease, reduce environmental hazards, and prepare communities to respond to emergency events and disasters. A vital function of DSHS is to convene public health partners and stakeholders to improve health and well-being in local communities, regions, and across the state. This conference exemplifies that work, and we are trying together to accomplish those common goals. Let's talk about Texas Strong. Texas can be a tough place to live. Our history is full of natural and man-made disasters and tragedies. We have always tackled these obstacles with our hardworking spirit and willingness to pitch in and help our neighbors. Nowadays, in addition to Texas gumption, we have modern tools and technology and training. We formed teams like Texas Task Force 1, which includes Texas Task Force 1 Rio Grande Valley, and also created command structures to guide us at each stage of the crisis, including preparedness, response, rescue, recovery, and rebuilding. We must keep applying the lessons that we have learned, both from our mistakes and our successes, to improve the future actions. I noticed that when we kind of had a show of hands for the number of people who were attending here for the first time, that's a great thing. We've got new blood, new people in, but it also indicates the need that we have to, if you will, pass down the institutional knowledge, the experience that veterans in disaster response can bring with them. And that's where understanding what worked is as important as understanding what didn't work. We have always tackled these obstacles with a spirit of willingness and a spirit of pitching in for our neighbors. We must keep applying the lessons that we've learned, and we will never know when the next emergency will happen, but we can put our best efforts into anticipating those and being prepared as best we can. The past year was exceptional in the challenges we faced, including Hurricane Harvey, Zika, and the tragedy at Sutherland Springs. We are still dealing with the aftermath of these and other events. We may not all agree on what the solutions are yet, but I think we can all agree that in order to achieve them, we must work together. This year's South Texas All Hazards Conference has shown a significant increase in participation. This demonstrates the commitment of our first responders and support teams who are ready and willing to help their fellow Texans. We are Texas Strong. Now a call to action. In order to stay strong, we must prepare for the future by training the next generation of first responders. You may have noticed the young people walking around, and some of them sitting here, with bright neon green t-shirts that say volunteer. These are 68 high school and nursing students who have completed incident command structure training. I'm proud of them because they are getting the vital training that they need to someday participate in a crisis response. During Hurricane Harvey, folks came from all over Texas and neighboring states to offer their assistance to the affected area. I must say that Hurricane Harvey was, for me, my first rodeo, as it were, being the commissioner, and it was amazing to see the response. I had gone around the state the first year that I was commissioner and seen many of the assets that we had and got to meet many of the personnel that we have that are dedicated to emergency response. But then to see it put in action and to see how effective it was and how much all of that preparation and teamwork and exercise and training and collaboration was absolutely essential to making that occur. We had folks who wanted to volunteer, and fortunately though, many of those well-meaning people had to be turned away because they lacked the training and would have therefore become more of a hindrance than a help. Texas needs more qualified and trained individuals available to work within a unified command structure. Please help spread the word that emergency preparedness and response training is available for free. There are many opportunities. The trainings are for anyone who is willing and able to serve in a response capacity. I'd like to encourage more people from public health, medical, clinical, caregiver community, and pharmacy fields, in particular, to obtain that training. You can visit the DSHS Emergency Preparedness and Response website. Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service also has information available, as does Preparing Texas, or you can just contact your local health department to learn more. There are also many training resources that are available in the exhibit hall. As far as emergency planning, we all know that an emergency plan must involve more than just calling 911. Obviously, at the other end, 911 needs to be prepared to respond to the emergency. It's an ongoing challenge for us to ensure that the places that Texans live and work will have emergency plans and will have access to necessary supplies and equipment, and especially trained personnel. We must be especially proactive in creating and regularly updating our plans to protect places where we find the most vulnerable members of our communities, such as hospitals, nursing homes, and schools. Again, there are many resources at this conference and online to start and maintain personal and community preparedness efforts. I'd like to acknowledge the exceptional efforts in this area of the Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department. The HCHHS was recognized in January by the National Association of County and City Health Officials for its ability to plan for, respond to, and recover from public health emergencies by meeting comprehensive preparedness benchmarks. One strategy they have implemented is requiring all of their staff to get National Incident Management System, or NIMS training. Another very important suggestion I have for you for emergency planning is I urge you to take back to your communities the need to be immunized. In the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, 26 cities and city and county local jurisdictions sent requests to DSHS for vaccines to immunize their crisis staff against diseases like tetanus, hepatitis, and influenza. DSHS ultimately distributed 70,000 vaccines to these affected areas. A great basic principle, though, of course, of public health and immunizations and vaccines is the best time to get vaccinated is before you need it. In other words, before you get exposed to that potential infection. So please stay up to date with your own personal adult vaccination schedule. There are more adult vaccines available than you may realize. Communication is extremely important. This past year showed the importance of improving our communication abilities during any kind of emergency. First responder networks must prioritize the development and constant testing and exercising of communication technology. This means not only should first responders and other response team members be able to communicate with each other, but all the vulnerable sites in a community should be mapped out in advance and have communication assets as well. There are many communication tools available, such as FirstNet, and this conference is a great opportunity to investigate options and discuss them with your colleagues. Sometimes we have warning and time to prepare for a threat. In these occasions, it is critically important to get the right messages out to the public and to ensure that providers know what to do as well. This time last year, we were facing the threat of the Zika virus and not knowing what to expect. And we're facing it again this year, by the way, and don't necessarily know exactly what to expect. Communication with at-risk Texans and healthcare providers was our first priority. And I must really give a shout out to the healthcare community here in the lower Rio Grande Valley because of what we identified as special risk factors in these communities. We had asked for providers to do routine prenatal testing three times during a pregnancy on all pregnant women, regardless of their travel history, regardless of their symptomatology. And I'm very pleased and proud to say that they responded and did a very consistent job of providing that screening. Communication with the at-risk Texans with regard to Zika was a priority. And when the health of the public health system and governments on the national, state, regional, and local levels, we were able to share consistent factual messages on Zika prevention and surveillance. I'd like you to know that the threat of Zika hasn't ended. Zika and other diseases transmitted by mosquitoes will always be a threat in our state, especially here in South Texas, where the climate is very conducive to a long, if not year-long, mosquito season. Two interventions are key: to promote integrated mosquito vector management, in other words, mosquito control, and to protect individuals against mosquito bites. Let's talk about surveillance. Too often we hear stories about how a tragedy could have been prevented if someone had said something or done something sooner, or if someone had been able to see the bigger picture and realizing that there was a threatening pattern developing. That's why surveillance is a top priority for the Department of State Health Services. It's essential that we collect information that we need and we analyze it and we act upon it. Whether it's a storm forming in the Gulf of Mexico or patients in a hospital with the same infectious disease test results. Science and data provide our insight into public and population health programs, and that enables us to identify our goals and work effectively to achieve those goals. However, one size doesn't fit all, and when we design our prevention and intervention activities, we must look at all levels, national, state, regional, and local, to determine where our problems exist and choose the most effective health improvement strategies, and then also figure out how we can measure whether or not we've made progress and achieved the outcomes we desire. One example is where local jurisdictions requested help reducing mosquitoes in areas where the Hurricane Harvey response and recovery operations were underway. I must tell you that before the hurricane, we had, if you will, some ideas about potentially doing aerial spraying for mosquito vector control because of the nature of the mosquitoes and how they breed and where we thought the threat would be. We were really mapping out and contracting to have relatively small areas that we would need to cover specifically for the Aedes aegypti species of mosquito. However, once Hurricane Harvey hit, that really wasn't the problem. The Aedes aegypti mosquito wasn't the problem. It was essentially all of the swarm of different mosquitoes that come after a flooding event like that. And it was so massive that people could not re-enter those affected areas to provide the follow-up rescue and response and recovery. So that in itself became a public health problem. And we had to gear up. Texas DSHS formed a vector control task force, and we used aerial spraying over 6.5 million acres. That's an area the size bigger than the state of Maryland. The task force collaborated with local contractors and local jurisdictions and the U.S. Air Force to measure pre- and post-pesticide application data to determine whether the things that we were doing were working and whether or not more applications of pesticide were needed. We can't really see what the future holds, but we can make informed decisions about how best to prepare and take action based on science and data. I want to touch a little bit on conference highlights. You're going to meet many people here today, and I really think the collegiality and the understanding and bridges that you will build is, to me, one of the most fundamental assets of an experience like this for everyone. I know you all have a story to tell, and I hope you will share them with each other and inspire each other to go forward in this mission. I look forward to the many great speakers ahead. You will hear shortly from Tony Robinson, Chief Nim Kidd, Jim McAllen, and Marianne Denner. I hope you will also enjoy the many breakout sessions. At 1:30 today, there will be a very unique and moving presentation on the Sutherland Hills Church shooting, and I believe it will be important for us to attend. I encourage you to visit the exhibit hall and its many vendors. There are a number of special training and meetings over the next 2 days. Thank you to everyone who will be participating in those and acquiring important skills to take back to your communities. We owe it to them to apply ourselves, to make real commitments and invest in personal and community development. Relationships of trust, which we can forge here together, need to be created and nurtured, because trust is speed and rapid response saves lives. We have the power to prevent human tragedy. Thank you for your caring and committing to our common cause and for the work that you do every day to achieve our goal, a safer and healthier Texas. Please stay connected with DSHS by following DSHS, or rather Texas DSHS, on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And again, thank you all very much. It's quite an honor to be able to make a presentation to a group of community heroes such as yourselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I need to get that mosquito eradication program in my neighbor's yard. Not so much mine. I need a good neighbor to go over and take care of that for me. I want to remind you that I know some of you have been coming in without badges. It's really important that you register today. So if you've come in late, just run late and wanted to get in here to the speakers, that's great. But make sure you register to get your TEACS credit. You need to have your badge. That'll make sure that happens. So please make sure this morning at some point you go out there and get registered so that you can be officially here. That's very important for a lot of reasons. Just a couple of announcements to make before we get on to our next speaker. We do want to thank all of our sponsors who have made this event possible. In particular, our platinum sponsors. For the 5th year in a row, Siddons Martin Emergency Group has been a platinum sponsor. We thank them for their continued support. We also want to thank and welcome our newest platinum sponsors, First Next, powered by AT&T, and the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council. I want to thank all of our silver sponsors and all who have supported us throughout the years. Let's give a hand to all of our sponsors today. I want to remind you about some other events coming up during the course of the daytime today. The Collaborate Luncheon, that's free lunch, so stick around for that. That's at noon with refreshments and some good food in the exhibit hall. At 1:30 right after lunch, we'll be right back here in the ballroom, and that's for a special presentation from officials of Bexar County on events from the Sutherland Hills church shooting. Due to the sensitivity of this, there will be no photos, no audio, no video. That'll all be prohibited in that. That'll be at 1:30 here. At 2:40 in the ballroom, Texas A&M TEACS will have their emergency plans training. At 2:45 in boardroom 1, Eddie Olivares will be back and he'll host the RGV ham radio session. We'll have 11 TEACOL certified courses available for you to attend. It'll check your brochure for all the information on that. And then tomorrow, a lot of great things going on. The South Texas Immunization Summit will be here in the Grand Ballroom all day long. At 8:15 a.m. in Ballroom D, the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council will host the first NET Town Hall meeting. This is open to the first 48 attendees, so get there quickly. At 1 p.m. tomorrow in Ballroom D will be the Below 100 Preventing Line of Duty Deaths. This will also be open to the first 48 attendees. And if you need some TEACOL hours, we'll have 18 sessions to choose from. So see your brochure for more. You may have noticed when you walked in the lobby today, you might have seen the bins for the canned food. We're trying to partner with the food bank this year, Food Bank of the Rio Grande Valley, to replenish what was used up during Hurricane Harvey. An awful lot of stuff went into the coastal bend and up to Houston because of the hurricane, so we're trying to replenish that. If you didn't bring a canned food item today, bring it tomorrow. We'll take it throughout this conference. And of course, you'll also want to share everything that you learned today on social media. You can see the hashtag 2018 STAHC, South Texas All Hazards Conference. Thinking ahead to Hank Williams, I guess. Conference. Be sure to post. We'll retweet them. You see the hashtag up there. Let's do that when you get a chance, okay? A lot of photos to take here today.